mansion. The good thing is that Junting is controlling everything, and even she hasn't realized it. If he could convince her to be part of the plan, they could move on to the next phase. He approaches her and asks how things are going. She explains that she met many new friends and didn't expect such a big party just for her. She asks about her sister, Liu Xiu, and he says she'll be back soon as she went to take care of some things. He then tells her he knows of a much more fun place and asks if she wants to go there. Man, for someone trying to win her over as a friend, you're not playing the game right. Obviously, she hugs him and says no. First, she hasn't finished playing here, and second, she doesn't understand how he knows her name since she never told him. Suddenly, everyone at the party stops and starts staring at him. Back at Safe House 003, Sizzy is walking around with her little powers. Our boy is also creating ice and distractions to slow the beasts down. They raise some giant ice boulders with a few beasts trapped inside. The problem is, they're easily breaking everything. He warns that he's going to try to buy a little more time. He creates a full nether creature that costs 100 points. That's because the absurd number of beasts is feeding the fear he's able to generate. He's constantly gaining more fear and spending it to summon more monsters. The goal is to hold off as much as possible until reinforcements arrive. Now the attack distribution is with the zombies in the back and the beasts in the front. Our boy is all stylish, summoning this massive purple dragon. It's easily tearing through several beasts and racking up a ton of SP. Our boy is excited. Even though it's a disaster, he's definitely leveling up a lot. The beasts, not being stupid, start changing course to avoid the dragon. But for him, this was perfect since they weren't even fighting, and he was earning experience just by killing the fleeing beasts. Meanwhile, some ice shards are piercing other creatures. Sizzy is taking down the creatures, destroying the front line with headbutts. Our boy only compliments her. As he wonders how many creatures he's already killed, it seems like it's never ending. And the problem is that eventually there were so many that he didn't even have time to hit them all, until a fireball and a lightning bolt came. Man, I thought it hit someone else, but it got him right in the forehead. He turned around thinking someone had arrived. But in fact, the zombies were awakened. It seems like the usual stereotypes didn't work in this filthy world. With his analysis, he saw they were level 6 ancestral zombies from the village. Now the problem had become much bigger since these creatures were much smarter and even had powers. He needed to warn everyone at the base as quickly as possible. He starts flapping his wings and kicking everything away. Sizzy creates a water circle around him and warns him to be careful not to let those creatures get too close. Our boy grabs the creatures with a water hand. He says he has an idea and flies into the sky. He starts raining fire on all the zombies he had captured. Then he makes it rain fireballs of burning zombies. The boy is racking up a ton of experience and had already gained 2 more points in all his stats. Meanwhile, Sizzy was easily cutting off heads. She activated a blade technique and slashed through a bunch more, until one tried to stab her right in the forehead. But our boy arrived and smashed them all with a single stomp. With that, they wiped out the first wave of 1,000 creatures, so only 49,000 left. He wonders how these damn zombies knew how to use abilities. She explains that they were probably awakened in their previous lives. She's sure it's the filthy Zhu family. But he explains that he analyzed the zombies and found out they're actually ancestors of the sacred village. Shibai hears this and says that from what he knows about the Zhu family, they wouldn't go as far as controlling zombies. The current information suggests that this incident has much more to do with the sacred village. Stissy says it seems to be the work of that Dan woman, the one who gave her the scar on her face. It looks like they're dealing with another dangerous villain. She tells our boy to hold his breath because that gas is toxic. However, the strange smell reminds him of something. It smells like rotten eggs, meaning it's hydrogen sulfide. When he was part of the rescue team, he had to conduct an operation like this, and that's when he learned it's extremely flammable. He warns her to be careful because it could explode. She asks what he's planning to do. Our boy says there's no time to explain and she'll have to trust him. With that, she ignites her finger with a bit more flame. And of course, there's a massive explosion. But our boy wasn't a fool. While she protected herself, he was absorbing the fire. His reserves were now at 263. Another wave of zombies was arriving and he used his analysis ability. It was an old man sitting on top of a muscular figure. But strangely, the analysis wasn't working. The old man scratched his beard and said it was impressive they neutralized his poison. Unfortunately, it was a high-level creature too far away for the analysis to work. He comes up with a plan, decides to analyze all the other creatures instead. With that, he manages to perform almost 17,000 analyses. Because of this, his analysis ability levels up to advanced, and now he can analyze targets above level 30. That creature was called Zhu Xiangming, an awakened being at level 39 who had reached the apex rank. The old man then tells the creatures to kill the 2 of them because he has other matters to attend to. Our boy mentions that the creature is level 39 and asks what a fallen means. She explains that an awakened being's abilities evolve as they use them, slowly assimilating with their power. However, if they aren't strong enough, they are consumed by their own power. That's when they become known as fallen. The problem is that, despite losing their reason, they are considered extremely powerful. Our boy is calmly slicing through zombies. Suddenly, a green ogre appears next to Sizzy. It attacks her, and she has to defend herself. She's thrown back and immediately sends a message to the base, warning that a group of extremely strong zombies has appeared, and they no longer have the strength to stop them. Additionally, an apex-level creature is leading the entire legion toward the city. Given that it's level 39, it's a threat far beyond their reach. What's left for the two of them to deal with is the level 39 green orc. Zhang Ping then decides to test a new nether technique. He surrounds the creature with a bunch of purple chains, but easily breaks free. At that moment, a deafening sound comes from within the city. Our boy, startled, wonders if the enemies have already reached the city. Meanwhile, at the northern gate, the horde of beasts and zombies is approaching. Several awakened beings have volunteered to help defend the gate. Even the master who taught our boy his first techniques said he wasn't going to let the city fall like this. With just a few men there, no one was getting through. Or at least there were more than a few men, but they were only academy apprentices. At least they were enough to stop the first wave of rabbits. However, obviously, this wasn't the biggest problem, and the captain himself was already locked in battle with one of the zombies with abilities. Man, he stopped the punch, but it seemed to start corroding his hand. And with that, the poor guy was being overwhelmed. He notices that the creature is using the same beast fist technique he teaches. This makes him wonder who the hell this monster is in front of him. He dodges another attack, preparing to land a blow on its stomach. But instead he goes for the classic Rock Lee move, hitting it in the shoulder. He throws it up into the air, headbutts it, then slams it down to the ground, causing an explosion. Look at him recovering HP out of pure rage. If you say the guy doesn't have swagger, you're lying. He sees that something seems to have fallen from the zombie and wonders why it looks familiar. Then he realizes it's the token of one of the older men from the academy. This person had that man's token and also knew how to use the techniques. Perhaps it really was Brother Benchy, who disappeared 30 years ago. He never imagined that someone like him would suffer such a cruel fate as becoming a zombie. Benchy keeps attacking, saying only he will be able to stop him. The elder wonders if the man he knew is truly gone. He remembers when they used to practice together. Since Benchy was a bit older, he always ended up getting hit. However, he was always a good person and taught him much of what he knew about beast techniques. And he was always eager to continue training. At that moment, the zombie says he's going to wipe the smile off the elder's face. But crying, the leader asks, "Since when have your punches become so predictable and weak?" He throws him away, saying it's a disgrace to the Beast King Academy. He didn't know who did this to his former comrade, but he swore he was going to find that person and make them pay the price. He then warns everyone to get out of the way, or they'll be caught in the crossfire. In the same moment, he jumps and comes face to face with Benchy. Man, the poor guy didn't even have a chance. He got hit right in the chest. The impact generates a shockwave that passes right through him. As he's being evaporated, he thinks to himself that his younger brother really has become stronger. With that, the leader steps back, telling his brother to rest in peace. At that moment, a man with yellow teeth says it's a shame to see a masterpiece being destroyed like that. But it didn't matter because that guy would be the perfect replacement. The leader, furious, asks if he was the one who turned his friend into a zombie. The old man says yes and asks what his objections are. Did insects like him really think they would survive that army? The Zhu family, after failing in their plan to kidnap the saint, is now being hunted by the purging squad. The attack on the forge was a good plan, worked to leave everyone on edge. And now Lu Xiu and Yu are running free through the city. The goal of releasing mutated beasts into the Lord's palace went wrong since a bunch of strange zombies appeared instead. The plan to capture Junting directly from the mansion center also failed. And now he's here, alongside the foxes. With that, the Zhu family's plan had been completely uncovered. They wanted to bring all the foxes under their control by using the saint and then retake control of the city. However, the current investigation shows that these zombies are connected to the sacred village. The celestial curtain has successfully been raised, gathering all the combatants in the area. The attack is mainly coming from the north, as the south is surrounded by mountains. At this moment, the Beast King Martial Academy and other awakened ones are holding the northern position. Meanwhile, inside the ancestral sacred village, a man kneels before the cult leader and informs her that everything is ready. She tells them to go help the zombies cause chaos in the city. And the moment the Zaashi brothers capture the saint, they are to return immediately. The boy asks if that king-level beast in the city won't interfere with their plans. Additionally, if they're already declaring war, why would they retreat after the first attack? The warden says that the old fox is likely just waiting for Shibai to reveal himself. The boy asks if that doesn't put their plan at risk. She reassures him, saying he needn't worry. Even though the saint had only just awakened, not even that powerful fox could completely ignore her effect. Besides, the fox isn't their biggest concern in the city. The real problem is Shibai and the purging squad. And that's why she's using the zombies to create chaos in the city. First, they'll use the saint as a pretext for war and launch this invasion. The purging squad will have to activate the Sky and Moon Pearl. But to do that, Shibai will have to reveal himself, and that's when the fox will strike. As soon as they're caught in the middle of this battle, they'll kidnap the princess and kill the rest. The boy says that his information indicates that the Zhu family also wants the saint and asks what they'll do if they interfere. She explains that at the moment, the saint is completely out of control and the Zhu family has no chance of accomplishing anything. That's why she sent the Xiaoshi brothers, who have sacred blood and can communicate directly with her. Moreover, it seems that the great ancestors of the Zhu family don't want to get involved in all of this. Even if they tried to take the saint by force, they wouldn't be able to defeat the brothers. She then says it's time for them to head out as well. Meanwhile, our boy has his dagger ready. He and Sizzy are killing as many zombies as possible. The problem is there are so many that he's been fighting for a long time and doesn't seem to end. Suddenly, he feels something pass by him. He turns and tells Sizzy to be careful. As she looks, a creature slams an axe into the ground, knocking her down. She tried to form an ice shield, but she was thrown far away. The beast was already leaping on her, and our boy rushed to help. The problem is that he was running low on nether, and zombies were holding him back. He shouts for Sizzy to watch out for the attack, but the brute smashes straight into the shield. The chubby guy says that piece of metal is not just for show, and Sizzy recognizes him as Zhang Shuzhan. At that moment, some flying swords come out of nowhere and start eliminating several zombies. It seems reinforcements have finally arrived. The incredibly dangerous woman lands a powerful kick. This is none other than Cheng Shuji. The flying swords continue to land in front of the massive orc, forcing it to retreat. Qinming arrives and asks Sizzy if her swordsmanship is getting rusty. He delivers another series of strikes to the orc and tells her not to let her guard down. No physical attacks seem to work on that creature. Our boy, feeling confident, says he knows how to beat it. He asks the senior to keep it occupied. Man, the guy is pretty nice. He listens to the boy and charges forward. With a reverse strike, he's holding back the giant axe. Zhang Ping noticed that this guy is controlling the creatures with toxins. He knows toxins are flammable and tells the brute to eat this attack. He slams a hammer with scales right into the beast. Now that it was embedded, the fun part began. He slashes the creature's back with flames. With that, all the toxins inside the creature begin to combust. The orc falls to the ground, bloated. Zuji says these guys were really tough. However, our boy warns that the real tough ones are near Pearl City. He explains that there are some injured people at base 003, and they're being kept hidden thanks to an item. Qinming says they received the situation report from the boss and that they'll take care of those people. He tells him to head back to the city because his power will be more useful there. But what if he just stands there saying nothing? Ming tells her to go with him as there are enough people here already. With that, she runs ahead, telling the boys to follow. At the northern gate, it's absolute chaos. He's right in the middle of this war. The Beast Academy Master is there, all fired up and buffed, killing everything. Instructor Baidi is in his transformed form, helping on the front line, when suddenly, Tiago turns around. It's a fireball, and it's not letting this guy leave alive. However, the Martial King delivered a punch, changing its path. He turned to the level 39 zombie and asked if that was all he had. The old man wonders why he's been encountering so many fire-type creatures lately. The other one is about to throw a punch at him, but he just says it looks like he's being underestimated. Man, and oh no, he took one right to the gut. He still says it's not over yet. The old man coughs up blood and an explosion occurs as his hand pierces the poor guy. And man, it rained the boy. This guy was tougher than I imagined. What the hell? Did he kill the big chief? The problem is, he noticed something unexpected. Even with the leader dead, the zombies were still moving. And obviously, it wasn't going to be that easy. At that moment, the man lands a usurpation strike on the zombie's belly. The technique this old man possesses allows him to sacrifice zombies to revive himself. At that moment, the poor guy's heart starts beating erratically. Already bleeding dark energy, he asks what the old man did. The old man says the effect seems to have taken hold quickly. He injected a little zombie toxin, and when it spreads, he'll become one too. Obviously, the poor guy wasn't happy about that. He activated an emperor body technique that raised his body temperature to over 1,000 degrees. The old man says it looks like he's trying to burn the toxin out with his own heat. However, that was impossible. There are many types of toxins, and his wasn't one that could be removed that way. At that moment, the Great Master's friends call out to him, and he turns around, telling them not to worry. With that, a bunch of zombies surrounds him and asks how long he can last. The poor guy is getting beaten, but says they'll pay the price no matter what. The old man says it seems he doesn't understand the situation, and since he's missing his friend, he'll give him the chance to join him. The Great Master starts realizing that he has to end this now. He throws a punch right at the red zombie. Man, the guy doesn't stop. He sends the zombie flying. The problem is his power is starting to run out. The poison was spreading too fast, and what he had at that moment wasn't enough. His body didn't even have the energy to maintain his final form. At this rate, he turned into a zombie, and the entire northern gate would fall. That's when two shadows approach the battle. Sissy tells our boy that she received information that the Great Master is in bad shape. They rush past the zombies with her saying they need to rescue him first. The poor guy is nearly unconscious, wondering who's coming. From a distance, she shouts for him to hold on a little longer. She unleashes some attacks, knocking the zombies off him. At that moment, he saw an opening. And man, he throws a hurricane punch, sending everything flying. He tells our boy to run away because he's going to turn into a zombie. But John Ping tells him not to worry because he'll heal him. He activates his pure blood body. The master is shocked and says that method is quite unusual. Not only did it heal his wounds, but it also restored some of his energy. Zhang Ping explains that he couldn't neutralize the poison, but he managed to suppress it so it wouldn't spread any further. The Great Master says that's good enough. He just asked the kid to buy him a little more time. Fang Leishan, the true master of the Beast Martial Academy, was an apex-level awakened being at level 38. The old man tells him to give up and become one of the zombies. However, he only raises his body temperature even higher. It's already at 3,000 degrees. Man, he explodes from his position, and in the next second, he's right in the old man's face. He delivers a powerful punch straight to his arm. Zhang Ping warns that his analysis shows this guy's body is connected to the other zombies, so the only way to defeat him is to kill them all. The old man grabs his arm and says he's not going to die that easily. At that moment, another legion of zombies surrounds him again. The temperature rises to 4,000 degrees and the old man starts melting in his hand. With that, he starts firing flames at all the surrounding zombies. However, that still wasn't enough. He asks Zhang Ping if he knows any way to increase his body temperature even more. Our boy says that the fire he knows how to spin is unfortunately pretty weak. Man, now I understand, our boy has turned into blood and is inside the Great Master's body. Zhang Ping hands over some scarlet scales and tells him to try using them. The master immediately consumes everything. Meanwhile, another legion of zombies starts advancing toward him. At the same time, a pillar of fire rises to the sky, freezing everything around it. People were saying they never thought they'd see the Great Master in that form again. That was a sign that battle was about to end. The Flame Emperor had returned in his sunfire form, reaching temperatures of 6,000 degrees. With that, not even the most resistant toxin could survive inside his body. He warns Zhang Ping that the form he's taken will cause severe damage to his own body, so he'll need help. He tells the rest of the group to move back to avoid getting caught in the crossfire. Everyone obeys immediately, running back toward the city. The zombie, reconstituting itself, realizes that the toxin it had planted is gone. It immediately calls for all units to gather forces and finish him off. But the master activates a supreme beast technique and lets out a breath. The entire legion was charging at him, and he just turned his head, breathing fire on everyone. With a single breath, over 20,000 zombies return to ashes. Sissy quickly realizes that, of all the people she knows, this guy is one of the 3 strongest. Just then, someone reports that the masters of 2 other academies have betrayed everyone and let creatures through the gate. Leisha knows who those masters are and can't believe they've really betrayed the people. At that moment, some zombies begin to emerge from the ground. The chief says that if the city has already been invaded, his objective is complete and this time the victory is his. Leixian, realizing he'll have to clean up the city, can only say that next time he will kill that man. He tells everyone to return and help the city while he handles whatever comes from the north. He tells our boy that he has managed to clear the toxin, so he can return as well. In the city, chaos reigns as people flee from the beasts. Meanwhile, a man from the Zhu family is delighted to see everyone screaming. This is how the city should look without his family. He then asks how the plan is going. They say that at least 1,000 of the beasts that invaded are under their control. The man says that's perfect and orders them to attack the Lord's mansion. They respond that it doesn't make sense since Junting is there and her divine blood would interfere with their control. Considering even the foxes are her servants, how could they kill this girl? The chief explains that at the moment, Junting's mind is like that of a newborn. She's unconsciously controlling the creatures around her. However, if too many of them approach, her ability will lose control. At that point, the mansion will fall into chaos, and they'll be able to capture her. Meanwhile, she was licking Junting's face, and Junting tells her to stop. Slowly, she starts to open her eyes. She sees a bunch of monsters standing in front of her and wonders where everyone went, and why they all suddenly turned white. She turns to Xiu and says she's weird too, asking who she is. But it doesn't matter because everyone is so cute. The chief is just observing, thinking this girl is out of her mind. It also seems her powers aren't stabilized yet. She walks over and wonders why there are so many white things outside. A bunch of bubbles is floating before her eyes, and it's too much. She wants it all to stop because it's giving her a headache. She collapses, unable to understand what's happening. Meanwhile, in the city, a girl is running from a beast and is about to be eaten. But our boy steps in and grabs it with his hands, saving her just in time. He holds its mouth shut and breathes fire into the creature. With that, it collapses, scorched, and the girl's mother thanks him for saving her daughter. Zhang Ping says that the areas ahead have more citizens, so they can't let the beasts get past them. She informs the purging squad to create a defensive perimeter and for the rest to continue rescuing civilians outside of that area. The biggest problem is that it will be difficult to kill these creatures without destroying the entire city. Our boy says they just need to buy enough time for everyone to evacuate. Suddenly, the beasts seem to be surrounded by a red aura. Stizzy also receives a message that the beasts near her have stopped moving. Our boy wonders what's happening. At that moment, Junting is rising and even the mayor wants to know what's going on. If it's what he thinks it is, everyone's in trouble. Suddenly, she starts to open her eyes. A pink aura begins to radiate from her. The energy spreads throughout the castle. The Zhu family instantly loses control of all the beasts they had under their command. It seems the cursed saint has awakened her goddess blood. She starts flying, saying she sees a lot of white balls in that direction. Immediately, the old man runs, saying they need to capture her. However, he senses something strange, an unusual feeling that only a king-level creature could emit. Maybe Lu Xiu had regained 100% of her powers. He wonders if jumping has something to do with the fox awakening. His men ask why the chief is standing still. He tells them to contact everyone and capture Jumpting as he has more important things to take care of. Given that the foxes now have someone at the king level, revealing himself would be suicide. For now, it's better for him to stay back and observe. Meanwhile, the martial fighters are organizing groups to continue clearing the city. Baibi asks the Great Master how he's doing, and he says he managed to recover after that fight. He then punches the wall, saying that those damn traitors abandoned the city. The Great Master tells him to calm down and remember that they need to rescue everyone from the city. Considering the chaos going on, their focus should be on saving as many lives as possible. At that moment, two people on the left point out that a group of awakened ones is approaching from the north. As they arrive, they say that no one will enter the city. They are immediately recognized as members of the Burning Sun Martial School, and the bald man in the middle is one of the traitors who opened the gate. The Great Master asks how the hell Wu Ruyu had the nerve to show his face there. He tells everyone from the Beast Martial Academy to prepare because these guys are traitors. He then asks why Wu Ruyu did this. Wu Ruyu questions Master Feng, asking if he never wanted to live a different life. The Great Master is confused by this talk of a different life. Wu Ruyu tells him to take a look at Pearl City, a place that seems promising but is destroyed every year by mutated beasts. He says they're trapped in this small patch of land, and he always wondered what it would take for humanity to finally give rise to a king. What would such a world look like? If a human king appeared in the sacred village, not only would Pearl City be safe, but the entire world would finally be free of the beast threat. The Great Master says it looks like Wu Ruyu is the one spreading this idea of supremacy under a single human king. Wu Ruyu says of course, and that even the Great Master could become a student. However, Leixin asks if being a student means sacrificing an entire city. Wu Ruyu says they're actually here to find the key to creating that king. If they just stay put, nothing will happen. However, Leixin asks what he'll do if he doesn't obey. In that moment, Wu Ruyu lunges forward, saying that in that case, they'll have to settle this with their fists. Meanwhile, in the northern part of the city, Jumping is flying. Our boy is seeing all the creatures that seem to be worshipping her. It appears the mutated beasts have stopped because of her. She's flying, saying that this bunch of white energy is so cute. However, Manchu Jumping has so many stars and worse yet has become a fallen human. Sizzy asks if that's true. Before he can respond, she pulls him down, saying someone had arrived. It was members of the Zhu family who were trying to kidnap the girl, but were terrified. After all, she had stolen all the beasts that were under their control, and they have lost communication with the rest of their group. It was impossible for the two of them to complete this mission alone. Suddenly, someone says it's amazing that the Zhu family finally revealed themselves for a second. Apparently, they were braver than the others they encountered last time. The ones who appeared were the Celestial Tribe brothers, level 25 humans with 5-star potential. Our boy immediately relays their characteristics to Sizzy, who says this is the perfect chance to extract some information. The brothers talk about turning the Zhu family members into zombies. The Zhu family members realize they're behind everything that's happening in the city and tell them to resolve it quickly. With that, the idiots charge forward. However, they haven't even started fighting yet, and they're already being poisoned. The brothers stand still, calling them pathetic and saying they thought they'd be stronger. The Zhu family members' bodies were paralyzed. One of the brothers points his finger and tells them to stop resisting and accept defeat. Only now does the idiot from the Zhu family realize there's poisonous gas around them. One of them manages to raise a barrier, but the other gets bitten by a tiger. Meanwhile, a snake coils around one of them, and the brother says it's a shame they won't last long. It would be better if they stopped resisting and accepted becoming zombies. However, the kid lets out a scream with his Zhu aura, telling them to dream on. The other fool tells his brother to be careful. The boy lit up like a star. The snake and tiger were evaporated. The brothers thank him, saying they were lucky not to have been hit by that attack. At that moment, Jumping appears behind them, wondering what happened to those two white creatures. Wow, but it looks like she's already siding with the brothers because she starts healing their beasts and them. They bow to the Sing and say they are here to take her back. She says there's something impure in their bodies and she will purify it. In that moment, strangely, their powers stop working and they wonder how that's possible. What she was doing was extracting the sacred blood from everyone. The problem is, this would turn against them. Both creatures begin to be purified. And in the next moment, Jumping says now they're all clean. She hugs the tiger, asking if he likes it here and saying they can go watch the other animals. She walks off with the creatures and the brothers realize she's already mastered the goddess's blood. The problem now is that it's going to be much more difficult to take her back to the village since she's lost her mind. One brother says that for now they need to focus on returning to the city and the leader will come up with a new plan. Upon hearing this, Sizzy gets angry, realizing that the leader is already there. Zhangping gets worried and asks who this leader is. Sizzy explains that her name is Lai Akshu, the most dangerous criminal wanted by the Purging Squad. She was the one who killed the master and also left the scar on Sizzy's face. Additionally, she's strong enough to face Shebai head-on, so they need to find out if this monster is really in the city. Even though they can't deal with Jumping, at least she's out of the city for now. And now that she's taken those beasts, this is the perfect chance to capture these guys. They were escaping when a barrage of ice struck them from behind. One of the brothers pushes his sibling aside, saying that more people were hiding nearby. He was about to make a move, but Suzy had already landed a helium strike on his arm. The man calls out to his brother, unaware that Jiang Ping is already behind him. And just like that, another fool is captured. Our boy says that if that poisonous mist is activated, both of them will suffer a lot. Suzy immediately demands that they reveal their purpose in the city and if Lai Aksu is really here. One of the brothers refuses to say anything, so he takes a slash to the chest. Our boy says that they'll keep cutting him while he helps him recover, and it'll take some time, but eventually, they'll spill their secrets. With that, the men begin screaming. Sometime later, Suzy informs the captain that they have vital information. According to what they discovered from the ones they captured, the ancestors of the sacred village are trying to use Xianing, who has awakened the goddess of blood. Additionally, Lai Aksu is in Pearl City at this moment. Xiaobai says it seems the worst has happened, and he will have to deal with it. He turns to Manny, telling her to prepare the teleportation circle. She asks if they are really going to activate the purple of the sun and moon. He knows that it's hidden in the center of the city, and once activated, he will be exposed. Plus, the foxes aren't dead. If he reveals himself now, it will be too dangerous. He explains that the original plan was to lure out the Fox King and keep it distracted in a fight while he activated the pearl. But with the arrival of Lai Aksu, nothing is certain anymore. He will have to take the risk and activate the sun and moon before they can react. There's no time to wait because it's the only chance to save Pearl City. A teleportation portal appears in the city's memorial center, and Shibai and the rest of the team emerge from it. He informs everyone of the situation in Pearl City and what they need to do. He says he can handle the beasts and the Zhu family, but the problem is how to overcome the unstoppable will of humans. Lai Aksu is already there and asks if he's really going to risk everything to activate this item. Manny asks how that woman is already here and why she didn't sense her before the teleportation. Shibai tells her to get used to plans not going well against enemies like these. Lai Aksu tells them to give up because the moment they stepped into this place in desperation, her victory was sealed. However, Shibai tells her to give up her pursuit of the human king's path. She's trying to interfere with the natural order of things, and by doing so, she'll only attract more king-level beasts. She needs to think about what will happen if she fails in her attempt to reach the king level. Lai Aksu simply responds that she won't fail. But Shibai counters by saying she already failed the moment she raised her blade against the innocent. There's no way someone who uses the ends to justify the means is on the right path. She doesn't walk the king's path, but the path of lies. Lai Aksu replies that a pile of bones is necessary beneath her if she is to become a queen. Whether it's the path of kings or lies, people will only remember the victors. Shibai says that her plan makes no sense. While trying to free humanity, she's killing everyone. Lai Aksu says she's tired of talking and knew she wouldn't be able to convince him, which is why she brought friends. The truth is, Lai Aksu doesn't want him to activate the sun and moon because it will attract the foxes, and she doesn't yet have Jumping to control them. Shibai then sees that Yu Chenghai is by her side and asks how the lord of the city could be involved in something like this. Chenghai says that Lai Aksu is right, the foxes are too strong and they need a human king to survive. However, Shibai says that she's not a leader and in the end she won't win this. The lord ignores him and says maybe not, but some things need to be done, whether the result is good or bad. He was too conservative and he knew he couldn't be persuaded, so he says that he'll have to ask Shibai to die. In a residential area, an explosion occurs in a park in the south. Junting asks the animals why they seem so scared. Suzy senses the fluctuation of energy. They see that Junting and all the beasts she was controlling are being drawn to the city. They imagine that the captain must have started the fight. She notifies someone from the team to come and pick up the two brothers while they run off to help with the battle. In the middle of the city, everything's a mess. Meanwhile, Lai Aksu dodges Shibai's attacks and asks if that's all he's got. He says buying time against her is more than enough. Suddenly, a crystal encases her body. While he begins the activation of the sun and moon, she realizes that his plan was to activate it while she was trapped. She shouts for Yu Chenghai to destroy it quickly, but the three girls from the purging squad block his path, saying they won't allow it. He raises his staff, saying that in that case, the three of them will die trying. He slams it into the ground, sending stones flying everywhere. The girls start arriving just in time. Suzy raises a barrier to protect Shibai as Jiang Ping approaches. That's when she notices that Lai Aksu, the villain herself, is hovering just above them. And worst of all, the Saint Junting is indeed approaching with a pack of beasts. Lai Aksu sees that the girl is out of control, meaning the ill brothers have failed. The problem is that Junting's energy is currently in an extremely unstable state. It seems the goddess of blood has fully awakened, and she is in the stage of metamorphosis. Junting floats above, merely observing. She notices that whatever it is that's frightening the creatures, it also gives her a strange sense of familiarity. As soon as she reaches out her hand, the sphere begins to glow. It ascends to the sky, accumulating energy and even shatters Lai Aksu's barrier. Lai Aksu doesn't understand why so much energy is being drawn from the sphere. Shibai warns that Junting is absorbing all the energy from the sun and moon. With that, Junting rises into the sky, an item that beasts can resist her pull. Our boy Zhang Ping starts feeling a headache and Suzy collapses to the ground, unable to do anything. Junting says she feels like her mother is calling out to her. She knows someone is waiting for her outside the city. Lei Oxtree is excited. The energy from the Pearl of the Sun has completed Junting's metamorphosis. She then flies off, calling the creatures to come witness it. Junting knows she is responding to the call from the ancestral village. Her willingly going to the village is perfect for their plan. Lei Oxtree had been hiding this girl in the city for a decade, all to wait for the right day to awaken her powers. She informs Shanghai that this girl is the key to creating a human king. The foxes must have awakened now that Junting is gone, and they have surely noticed the commotion in the middle of the city. This chaos is enough to keep Shibai distracted, and so far, her plan is working. She turns to Shibai, thanking him for accelerating her plan so much. She thought it would be much harder to complete the Saint's metamorphosis, but he did it for her. While she talks about how this is truly destiny, Suzy approaches from behind, saying she won't let her escape. Suzy jumps and attacks with energy, declaring she will avenge her master. But Lei Oxtree just asks if she's being serious. She stretches her arm and says the girl is getting ahead of herself. She creates an impact that sends poor Suzy flying. Our boy Zhang Ping quickly jumps in, creating a pair of nether wings to catch her midair. He grabs her gently in his arms, saving the damsel in distress like a true hero. With that, Lei Oxtree bids Shibai farewell, saying until next time. The group asks if they should follow her, but Shibai says it won't be possible for now because they need to focus on recovering the city. Our boy tells Suzy that she only suffered a few small cuts. She's feeling down, saying she's still too weak. Suddenly, they hear a loud crack, and Manny wonders where it's coming from. Shibai says it's undoubtedly the Celestial Fox King, so they need to prepare for teleportation. They spot the castle guards, and they know that in reality, they are all foxes. The guards tell them to stand still and respect the law. But obviously it won't listen, and Manny begins setting up the teleportation. Our boy warns them to be cautious because foxes' attacks are usually invisible, but Shibai says he'll hold them off. He starts flying and activates a cerebral resonance wave. He immediately orders the purging squad members to evacuate the city, but the girls are hesitant. Of course, he's the captain, and he tells them it's an order. Our boy Zhang Ping doesn't understand why the foxes aren't following Junting. Suzy explains that they must have some kind of protective barrier and says it's best they leave quickly. Shibai is relieved to see that everyone is escaping. No one stood a chance against the Fox Queen, so it was best for everyone to flee the city. Once everyone has left, Shibai wonders why the Fox Queen hasn't shown herself yet. He wanted to see the power that the Fox Queen possessed. A voice emerges saying, so this is the most powerful of humans. But it's good for him to know that with his current strength, he has no chance of winning. Shibai tries to activate his analysis. He sees that she has the abilities of cognitive distortion and inversion of principles. She attacks, and he says there's only one way to find out if he's strong enough. He'll hit her with his most powerful strike. He activates the vacuum collapse, which starts creating multiple holes in the ruins. Shibai realizes that the Fox Queen is being attacked, and the vacuum collapse starts opening holes in her body. He plans to keep heating her body until he creates a vacuum, making her explode from the inside out. The creature says it's a strong attack, but useless against her. He wonders if it's an illusion or cognitive distortion. What's strange is that he had blocked his senses before the fight started. Moreover, it's not a clone like his that disappears when killed. The fox tells him to stop thinking he can fool her with these ridiculous tricks. The moment he's trapped, he realizes that this inversion of principles ability seems to affect the very laws of reality. The laws of temperature, gravity, or physics don't apply to the creature's body. And man, our boy is already down for the count with the fox staring him down. Shibai says it's a shame her powers only affect her own body. That doesn't work on him, and he starts destroying her hand. He raises a barrier, and she notices it's a temporal prison, and he says, "Here's a little gift for you."